Hi, Dr. Willie and Courtney and team. I hope you guys are doing well. I just got some x-rays with Dr. Meyer, so I'm about a little over 16 weeks post-op, about 4 months. We just wanted those x-rays to look at healing. Dr. Meyer is concerned about what she was seeing on the x-ray. She said that there is some improved callousing, especially like anteriorly. I'm starting to get some, but she was concerned that the osteotomy still looked pretty lucent. However, she did say she doesn't see a lot of distal osteotomy, so she is curious to hear what you guys think, and she wonders if maybe you'll think it's on track for a distal osteotomy versus having some concerns, and maybe we could chat about that. But anyway, I'm going to talk to Courtney tomorrow, and I appreciate that. Just wanted to send a video just to show you kind of where I'm at. But really, like, the hip is great. I am so happy with this hip. Believe it or not, I was a lot more functional after my PAO last year at this point, but I was so miserable. So the hip, from this standpoint, this is great. Like, I can get into like a deep squat. I haven't been able to do that in like 5 years. My hip motion is great. You know, the hip's not a perfect hip, but the hip feels pretty good. So anyway, now my problem is the knee. The knee does not feel good, and I think that's what's really limiting things right now. In the house, I can get around with one crutch or a cane and furniture cruising, but in the community, I'm still mostly using 2 crutches, trying to get down to 1. But really, independent walking is not happening yet. And there's a lot of pieces to this. I need to work on strength. I need to figure out all of this, but really my biggest limiter is the knee pain. And I wouldn't even say it's femur pain. Really, my pain is proximal tibia, and then it's like medial knee. I don't think there's anything wrong with the actual knee, but I do think something here is not very happy. And I'm hoping it's just that it needs some time and time to get used to a different load-bearing surface. So that's kind of my hope. I will say I have some concerns about whether or not the rotational alignment doesn't work well with my tibial alignment, but if it's not, it's like degrees. So I'm still hoping I can sort that out with PT. One of the issues too is, also maybe some of this is healing, but I would say my pain, so it's knee pain with moving. I actually can fully load onto this leg. I can not very well, but I can even start, I've started trying to do some like single leg stuff. I've started loading heavier in the gym. I've gotten under the squat rack. I can do stuff like that. The problem is then when I try to come off of this leg, that's when it's really painful. It's kind of like a rebound, which I'm thinking might be osteotomy healing, could be hardware. I know that's not uncommon with femoral osteotomies. So it's kind of this like rebound unloading pain. I wonder if that's not what's happening during walking. It's just that when I'm trying to go quick, trying to quickly offload isn't tolerated well. So anyway, with one crutch, things are pretty good. I do get something. I really need 2 crutches if I want no pain. I've been doing a lot of pool walking. I found a place to do some Alter G. So I found that kind of like between 45 and 60% weight bearing seems to be what the knee needs to be able to allow a continuous good quality gait pattern without pain. But with a crutch, it's tolerable. So that's a good thing. Without a crutch, it's not great. But I have a couple PTs. One PT thinks I need to work on strength. I agree, it's not a strong leg, but I think the gait's antalgic. I think if I could get rid of the knee pain, I think the gait, the strength, like all of that would come through quickly. So I think that's the limiter. But yeah, and just even that starts to make it pretty painful throughout here. So right now, my biggest challenge is that work will not allow me to come back to patient care. I think I would be great on one assistive device if we could figure out the right kids, but work just won't allow that. So I really need to figure out how to get off assistive devices so I can get back to work, and then figure the rest of the stuff out. So that's my biggest priority. I'd say the other symptom that's just kind of interesting is, I don't know if you can tell here, it's not terrible, but there's still just kind of this swelling and fullness through here. I was doing some lymphedema wraps. I've been doing TENS, all kinds of stuff. It's actually kind of almost like the muscle, like hard tone in those muscles. And my PT thinks that's maybe like a neurologic tone. Maybe that's just muscles trying to clamp down around the osteotomy. But anyway, that's just been kind of interesting, and that will increase over the course of the day. By evening, my leg is pretty big, but it does fluctuate and it will go down overnight, so I guess that's good. The funny story I'm just going to tell you with that is I was actually up in Vail a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if you guys have ever spent time in Vail, but it's a big outdoor mecca, skiing, mountain biking, all that kind of stuff, and it's where there's a lot of pro athletes go up there to train. And I actually had a pro cycling coach come up to me and was commenting on my quads, and he specifically was asking if my right leg was my power leg or whatever they call it in cycling. But it was pretty funny because I had to fizzle his enthusiasm and tell him that it was just post-operative swelling that he was looking at. But anyway, that was kind of funny. And of course, everybody in Vail has a broken femur story, and everyone's stories are way more epic than mine. So anyway, I was in good company. But anyway, appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to Courtney tomorrow. Just wanted to send this ahead of time as well as the x-rays, and I just welcome any thoughts, any ideas. I know time and patience is probably a big part of this, but anything we can do to speed this along would be awesome. So thank you guys, appreciate you.